Thursday, July 9th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. And yesterday, about as expected, had some thunderstorms roll through, and some of those storms were quite intense with some pretty decent wind damage reports in parts of the region. I'll highlight some of those for you coming up in just a moment. There's a peek at our Gastonia camera there from the Garland building as we're starting the day during the 5 o'clock hour this morning. The temperature there in Gastonia is 70 degrees with a dew point of 67. Humidity up there at 90% this morning. The temperatures yesterday were quite hot, up to 97 for the high in Charlotte. Columbia hit 96. Fayetteville 94, Greensboro, Raleigh, Greenville, Wilmington all at 91 yesterday. There's your Triad area, high temperatures, upper 80s and lower 90s. Well into the 90s around the Charlotte area, 96 in Gastonia, 98 in Monroe, 97 yesterday, and again, as mentioned, Charlotte, Wadesboro, Rock Hill, and 96 in Albemarle, 97 in Lincolnton, too. These are 5:30 a.m. temperatures this morning. A lot of 70s on the board across the region, and it's a warm start to the day all across the southeastern part of the country. 70s pretty prevalent, even up into the Ohio Valley and back to Texas. All right, let's look at the radar data from yesterday. And you had a couple of clusters of thunderstorms that were pretty intense roll through that produced some wind damage, some around the Charlotte region, including back west of Charlotte toward Kings Mountain. That's where you had some pretty significant wind damage there. And also through parts of the Triad area. I'll show you the Triad region first. A couple thunderstorms earlier in the evening, and then really in mid-evening you had those pretty intense storms move through northern Randolph, southeastern Guilford, and southern Alamance County. That's when you had that clustering of storm reports you see there occur. And I'll just go ahead and plot those 4 storm reports there in the Triad viewing area. There they are right there. And a lot of trees down in those areas. And unfortunately, some of them fell on some homes, and in parts of the region fell on some automobiles. Pretty rough situation there. Let me show you the reports from around the Charlotte, or at least the southern parts of North Carolina. I'll highlight a few of these reports over here in Rockingham County. I had this report come in that was a tree down there along at 122 Little Street. But look at this. Here in uptown Charlotte area, you had trees down in the Center City area, and just north of Center City, one tree fell on a car, another fell on a house there. And then over here toward the Kings Mountain area, that's where you had substantial damage to the roof of the indoor swim building there at the high school in Kings Mountain. Had the roof largely ripped off of that building there. So pretty rough stuff with those thunderstorms yesterday in parts of the region. Onto the current radar perspective, it is quiet across the Carolinas this morning. You have to head northwest to find the areas of rain and thunderstorms associated with our next cold front. An active severe thunderstorm warning as I'm cutting this video there in parts of Kentucky. And then still some flood warnings in parts of the Ohio Valley and back into the Texas Panhandle region too. Now that front is largely going to head off to the north. Let me show you a couple of the photos that came in of those big thunderstorms, those shelf clouds, pretty evident on some of these photos that came in from across the state of North Carolina yesterday. All right, today, low pressure heading up into Pennsylvania, and actually there's a little bit of an enhanced threat of some tornadic activity up that way. I think the Carolinas is pretty quiet today. The sea breeze may kick off a few storms, but a lot of the Piedmont rain-free today. Now you look off to the north, and that is where you have the highest severe weather threat. Oh, there we go. There's your day 1 severe weather outlook. And again, in that slight risk area, actually a pretty decent threat of some tornadic activity up there, especially in southeastern Pennsylvania. Hot day in the Carolinas today. 100 in Columbia, 98 in Charlotte, 99 in Fayetteville, Raleigh 97, 95 in Greensboro today. Tomorrow, still the rain chance is relatively limited. A few isolated storms a possibility, and still hot for your Friday. There's your Friday highs. And it's going to stay hot into the weekend, although the temperature's back down just a touch. Here's the Saturday setup, this frontal boundary dropping into the region. That will give us a little better chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms out there, and accordingly, temperatures back down just a touch too. There's your Saturday highs. And really watch what happens with the upper level pattern. The ridge overhead to wrap up the work week, it begins to work westward over the weekend, allowing that cold front to drop in. And then it continues to progress westward as we get into early next work week. And by Monday and Tuesday, that is going to set us up for the door to be open for these northwest flow type of disturbances to roll down, and could be some of those complexes of storms bringing us better shower and storm chances as we get into the Monday and Tuesday time period. Those big MCSs, or those big complexes of storms that originate in the high plains, could wind up propagating down our way in the Monday and Tuesday time frame. All right, tropics, it is still quiet across the Atlantic Basin, the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean Sea, the Atlantic Ocean. No sign of any tropical development over the course of the next couple of days. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Everybody have a great day, stay cool, and God bless.